Monsieur Morel, votre garde du corps est là.
Good evening, sir.
Bonsoir.
Nobody move!
Juuri tulleen tiedon mukaan presidentinlinnan itsenäisyyspäivän juhlissa on mahdollisesti ammuttu.
Siinä rakennuksessa on koko tämän maan johto.
Tää ei ole harjoitus.
This is Lieutenant Markus Tanner here.
I'm the negotiator.
Is our president still with you?
Suostu vaan kaikkeen, presidentti pitää saada vapaaksi.
So what are your demands?
The liberation of my father, Borislav Yankovic.
I need to know everybody's alive and well.
You just have to trust me.
Come on!
Charlie Delta. Incoming.
We made a deal. You broke it.
Nielsen ratings is a show that is for you. We talk from to the world. We discover new things I taste with water. So this the show's host and never keep your order. There's a gun who makes a little life good. Robert Tyler's name is just become a loser. From way up north you find another that's not. I got the press live and it is swing yard. Stupendous girl, Jackie Warriors, it's a cool. Ask me what you fucking makes you feel. You shouldn't tell secrets, but you know that you care. It's the Hollywood blast from the inside ring. Led by Nancy Sickles, drinks cappuccino. Everybody thinks he looks like Uncle Tarantino. So come on in and get the Nielsen ratings. It's a show that you won't do because you're baby.
Oh yeah, Gary.
I'll see your intro and I'll raise it.
What the hell?
So, welcome to the Nielsen Ratings, our weekly chat show where we're going to talk about new stuff that's out, older stuff that's good, and so on and so on and so on. Yes, Leroy, you did just see the late, great Richard Widmark.
Dude, you know who Gary sounds like when he sings? He sounds like Trey Anastasio from Fish.
Yeah, I'm going to get him to send me that again with the lyrics slightly boosted. But all my regulars got a mention in there. Also like to welcome back Critic Al Reviews.
Yeah, thanks for having me back.
Suspiciously looks like Rasputin on his picture.
I'll have you know that's an exact photo of me.
I thought so. So great to have everyone back. We had some clips of things we're going to be talking about tonight at the beginning there, so we're going to get back into those just in a minute. So how is everyone, Northern? What's happening?
We're doing fine. Just got my slides ready for my Men in Black stream on Friday. A little promotion there. And it's good to be on here again and talking movies. I love doing it.
Yeah, very good. Blue?
Either got the flu or COVID, one of them. I don't know. But
oh, dude, yeah, you've been a bit poorly.
Just doing an intro like "Welcome to the Outcast Creatives."
Yeah,
that sounds cool, mate.
While you're feeling that ill, you should be touting yourself out.
That's different for Enzo.
He's giving all these people rides in his car while he's sick.
Of course I wouldn't do that.
Another lockdown, Blue.
That's a different Enzo's Christmas stream. I had like a really bad a cold. And my voice dropped like 9 octaves. I'm like, hey, I can make an intro for Enzo for his Godzilla.
You literally had COVID.
Stupenzo, how you doing?
Chilling from still inside the house. I'm supposed to hear back from my friend Tina about getting this wall unit AC for my man cave, and she's left me on red. I hope she didn't sell it, or I'm worried it might be like one of those oversized wall units that's too big for the little window I have here. So I don't know. I might have to pay $500, $600 for a brand new AC unit. I don't want to do that.
Well, just so you know, if you say in London. I'm just waiting for my friend Tina to turn up. It means something completely different. So,
what does that mean? Really? Are you being serious?
I am being serious. It's a drug-related topic. Means you're waiting for crystal meth to arrive at your house.
Tina, that's funny. That's good.
Yeah,
I like that.
That's what it's called over here.
Christina,
working its way through and destroying the gay scene as we speak. So let's move on. Critic Cow, how you been?
Yeah, I'm all good, man. I got my mind blown by long legs last night, and then today I had some lovely new tarantulas turn up I need to sort out. So yeah, it's all good times.
Fantastic. You're getting blown by a girl called Longlegs one night and buying spiders the next. The life.
Yeah, the girl looked a lot like Nicolas Cage. It was kind of weird, but you know, I let it fly.
All right, let's dive into our first recommendation. I'm going to go first, and I've been urging people to watch this show. All of us have our kind of favorite shows that we like to whack on to kind of nod off to, or maybe watch one episode of before we go to bed. Lately, I have been rewatching Friends from the very beginning, which is just excellent writing. I've talked about it on the show before, but I've also recently discovered this, which is just fairly new on Netflix, Exploding Kittens. It's an animated adult comedy where God pisses off the board, because apparently there is a board that runs God in heaven who he's answerable to, and he parties one night too many, and so he is sent down to earth to answer some prayers that have been asked of him, but he's in the form of a cat, and his powers are limited, but he does still have powers, and he can talk. Meanwhile, in hell, the devil has also been told off for doing some bad things, although I thought that was basically the devil's job. Maybe they weren't bad enough. So they are literally sucked up from their board meeting into a giant red anus, which then deposits them out onto the earth. This is why I told you to watch the first couple of minutes, because that's on that scene. And so they end up both in the same household. It's a lot of fun. I've seen like the first 5 episodes. Critic Cow, you checked it out. Have you watched the whole thing already?
No, I think I've watched the first 4, maybe 5. The last one I watched was the one where Humanity 2.0 got rolled out. And all the
that's the last one. That's the last one I watched. That's brilliant. That's a good episode.
Yeah. So we're exactly the same then. I don't know if people realize, but Exploding Kittens is actually a card game.
It is. No relation to
possibly the first TV show in the world that I can think of that is based on an actual card game.
But is it this isn't based on the card game though, is it?
It's borrowing bits from it. I mean, the card game doesn't really have a story. It's just a load of cards with various entertaining cats on it. And you want to, if you get the Exploding Kitten, you want to make sure that you've got a diffuse card. And the idea is that every starts out with one. So if you get the Exploding Kitten and you don't have a diffuse card, you're out of the game. But you can see the decks where it is. So it's like it's a family game. It's a good laugh. There's a not safe for work version and a safe for work version. But I was amazed that they took the concept and made a show out of it. That's random.
Well, this is the family that the God Cat and the Devil Cat are lumbered with. It's got this really weird style of animation where everybody's legs are really long and thin, and then they have these very either overarched waistlines or crippling thin waistlines, like the mother. Yeah. The mother's like a sort of diehard pro-military martial arts gun owner. The dad is the complete opposite. He's like a nerd guy who plays lots of board games and D&D and all this kind of thing. The mother pretends to be the son's online counselor so that she can snoop on her own son. And then you've got the daughter, who's the most sane one of all. But I think it's really good. I like the cat fight here.
It's definitely got some clever ideas in it and some good humor. Not all of it landed for me.
Yeah.
If you chuckle moments for me.
Yeah, like as soon as I saw the character designs, I'm like, oh, this is the Oatmeal, that guy who does those web comics.
Yes, yeah. I think it may well be their company that made the game, actually.
Yes, it is. It is.
Yes.
Oh, right. Okay, so it is. That literally is. Okay, interesting. Oh my God, Cat. Yeah, I think it's a lot of fun. Some people might think it's a bit infantile, but listen, man, sometimes you just need to turn off and
I think it is in places, but then in other places there's some clever little jokes in there and stuff.
There are some clever jokes.
It's a mix. So I think, that there was like in the first episode that didn't really work for me, but I love the mantis shrimp. Especially
the mantis,
they shrink down.
Mantis shrimps, God's greatest creation.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
The inside man is attempting to log on. Do we have you? Can you hear us? Inside man, are you there?
Yeah, he's here.
Here he is.
I'm here. I'm here.
Inside man,
Here
did you catch the new intro for the show?
No, I didn't, mate. No, I'm afraid not.
For fuck's sake!
No, he can rewatch it. He's got a treat. He's got.
Nielsen ratings is a show that is for you. Talk film, TV, we discover new things. I taste the border. So here's the show's hopes and the popular order. There's a combination of everything's human. Robert Tyler's name is just because a loser. From way up north, you find another star. If I got the press live, maybe you swing yard. Dependents gonna get you wrong, yes, it's a cool. I ask you what you think it makes you feel. You shouldn't tell secrets, but you know that you care. It's the Hollywood boss from the inside real. Led by Nancy Single drinks cappuccino. Everybody thinks he looks like Quentin Tarantino. So come on in and get the Nielsen ratings. It's a show that you won't anticipate it.
There you go.
That's pretty groovy. That's pretty groovy, mate.
Does anybody here actually listen to the band Fish, dude? He sounds just like Trey. This is Gary. It's Gary singing.
Yeah, I've actually seen Fish live in concert.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, one of the few people that was there. What would you give this out of 10 people that have seen it? Al?
I'd give it like a 7, I think, probably 7 out of 10. How many episodes are there? Do you know?
I think there's about 9 or 10. It's not that many.
Okay, so I'm about halfway through it. Yeah, I think I would give it about a 7 out of 10. Not all of it works for me, but I didn't hate watching it, and there was definitely a few moments here and there that would make me laugh in each episode. So that's better than most of the stuff that's on TV these days.
Indeed. Inside Man, have you seen Exploding Kittens?
No, mate. No, I'm afraid I didn't get around to watching it. I've been a little bit on the busy side, I'm afraid. But I will get around to watching it. I will.
All right, I believe you. Okay, fantastic. Well, that was my first choice. So yeah, I give it like a 7.5 out of 10. Depends. Have you seen any of it yet?
I saw the first episode. Yeah, it gave me not quite Rick and Morty vibes, but more like Solar Opposites, that kind of tone. It's fun. It's cute.
Okay, so what would you give it out of 10? First impression?
I mean, it's hard to. Just that one episode. Yeah, 7 out of 10. It was interesting. It was good. I'll probably watch some more.
Watership Down is a very good film. Okay, yeah, good. Well, we'll give a full report when we've all seen the full season. Okay, all right. Well, let's go to first picks. So, Longlegs is a film that everyone's talking about.
Yeah.
I think a few people on our panel have seen it. Who's seen it? I know Critical, you've seen it. Stepenzo, you've seen it.
Yep. Loved
Chris?
it.
Yeah.
Okay. So we got a few people that have seen it. Okay, so Blue, what did you think of it first?
Really good. And as I told people, either Nicolas Cage should win an Oscar or it's the worst performance I've ever seen. I can't tell, but he goes full Cage, and take that what you will. Cage, every second he's on screen, he is chewing the effing scenery. It's either the best overacting or the worst overacting of all time. I'm not sure. So I loved it because I wasn't sure what was going on.
So it's like a full Cage chocolate cake with lashings of whipped cream Cage and some strawberry Cage on top.
I said I can't tell if it's awful or brilliant because it's just he is going for it. I'm like, I respect the hell out of Nicolas Cage whenever he's on screen. Boy, it's like it reminds me how Anthony Hopkins, in Silence of the Lambs, I said this in my review, isn't on screen a lot, but when he's there, you remember his scenes. That's how I felt with Nicolas Cage. When Cage is on screen, you're going to remember his scenes.
It depends how you've seen it. Give us the basic premise of it without spoilers, if you can.
Supernatural, satanic, Zodiac or Seven is basically what's going on here. Yeah, I don't want to spoil too much, but I mean, yeah, I'm a big fan of Osgood Perkins. You might know him. He's one of the actors in Legally Blonde. He also stars in that terrible Gary Busey turned into a dog movie called Quigley, but he's also the son of Anthony Perkins, and he directed a really creepy movie back in like 2016 or 17 called The Black Coat's Daughter. And I love that movie. And it is just like this movie, that movie, both of those movies, they're very, he also did Gretel and Hansel, which is also creepy. His movies aren't like terrifying. They're not like visceral or extremely graphic. They're just creepy, man. They just get under your skin. And it's particularly because of the effective sound design and this like constant ambient droning score that is just constantly giving you this unending looming threat is just constantly around the corner. You know, the music is the sound. This is one of those movies you got to watch with the lights off and the sound design. And yeah, if you're not you're a big horror fan, you'll like it. If you're not a big horror fan, you might think this movie's a little weird, a little anticlimactic, but it's definitely going to creep you out, I think, regardless of what your opinion is. It was just really interesting, and it's got a lot of layers, I think.
Is it kind of sort of Silence of the Lambs meets the Mothman prophecies, this kind of thing?
It's kind of like Silence of the Lambs, but imagine if like Buffalo Bill and Clarice were kind of psychics, you know, clairvoyants.
Okay.
And yeah, definitely kind of like how Seven is like, I think Seven is scarier because John Doe, you think maybe he's like, you know, he's dealing with God, you know, and God is always scarier than the devil. But this is like, yeah, the satanic serial killer type thing. It's more of a possession movie, really. But yeah, it was creepy, man. And I think one of the things I liked best about it, besides the sound design and the cinematography, is just like, yeah, just this like, just like this kind of timeless feel, because the movie takes place in the mid-90s, and yeah, it's just got this great atmosphere. Spooky. It's just a spooky movie. You know, it might be a little. I think it's one of those movies I'll enjoy more the second and third time I watch it, kind of like Hereditary.
Okay. Sorry, critic Al, you haven't given your views on it yet, so please dive in.
Yeah, for me, it's the movie of the year so far. I watched it last night in a cinema, and it was actually a well-attended cinema. It was probably 3/4 full.
Wow, that's quite rare. That's quite rare these days.
Absolutely, yeah, especially on a weeknight of all things.
Yeah.
Technically, it's a school night. You know, people at work the next day is what I'm saying, because obviously it was a Sunday night into Monday, and yeah, I was blown away. I've never seen such effective use of framing, cinematography, lighting, and sound design to create a feeling of unease in a film.
Right.
The sound design, the score is actually really minimal. So every now and again, you'll get like a sort of a shrill shriek or something like that, which sometimes actually blends into the shrieking that Nicolas Cage is doing. But all the rest of the time, when it's not doing that with the score, there's like buzzing lights and feedback, and like there's, if you're outside, there's like cicadas and stuff like that, and it just generates this very oppressive feel to the film. And I really, really liked it. It didn't outstay its welcome. I think it's an hour and 40 minutes. What I would say is it's not a particularly scary horror film. Like Stu said, it's kind of unnerving and gets under your skin.
Yeah.
Cage is great in it, but he's probably only in it for about 20 minutes in total, I would say.
Right.
You know, that the main focus of it is Micah Monroe, who's great as Lee Harker, and I can't remember the dude who plays the other FBI agent, but it's kind of like the most messed up X-Files episode you never saw.
Right.
Is kind of how I would describe it, because it's got that supernatural aspect to it, and you could almost see like the Mulder and Scully archetypes being put into this.
How's the leading lady acting?
She's really good. I don't think I've ever seen her in anything before, and this is a good shot to emphasize it. Actually, nothing in this film is glamorized. It's very real, down to earth and gritty, and that leads again into the cinematography and everything. But if you look at her eyebrows in that shot, they're massive.
Yeah.
Like, she's not been glamorized and made up. Nick Cage is wearing more makeup than the rest of the cast combined.
Yeah, I don't think Micah Monroe has done a bad movie yet, or at least a bad one I've seen. And she's becoming like a new scream queen because, she did. The Watcher was great. The Guest is amazing. It Follows is awesome.
She impressed me with her understatedness. You know, like she's not over the top or anything like that. I mean, in this one, she plays a kind of socially awkward young FBI agent who potentially might be psychic. But it's like,
which is why, even though she's like kind of underqualified, that's kind of why she gets these, the leg up, the promotion.
Like, not 1 second is she strong woman or anything like that. Do you know what I mean? She's competent and she carries the movie as she needs to, but she's never going around there kicking ass and throwing around accommodating stuntmen or anything like that. I thought it was a really good performance.
It seems like the girl boss is dying out now, and it's we're trying to come back to some proper
grounded, realistic,
grounded women that are very well written, are vulnerable, but are still strong at the same time.
It's kind of
realistic, yeah.
It's kind of like Emily Blunt in Sicario, how she's the main character, but she's kind of more like a pawn than anything. She's just being carted around. We're all just getting all this information through her because she's the rookie.
Yeah.
She caves at the end as well. She doesn't tell Benicio del Toro to go fuck himself. No, she actually cowers. She's actually very scared, and she does sign the paper, and Benicio del Toro gets let off.
Yeah, well, I mean, in this, Micah plays Lee as vulnerable in places. She does break down. She does cry. She's not talking down to men all the time or being, anything like that. She holds her own. But the thing is, I think that makes you respect them more. That's always worked for me. Like Ripley, the reason you respect Ripley is because she's in with this bunch of badass Marines and she holds her own and gains their respect. But she's never given anything to do it, if you know what I mean. She just does it the hard way by proving that she's a survivor and stuff. So I really love Longlegs. It's a film that I want to watch again and again because it's one of those films where nothing is left in the frame to chance.
I'm sold. I'm going to go and see it. Inside Man, have you seen it?
No, not seen it. No.
I've seen Micah Monroe in about 8 other things, including the dreadful Independence Day Resurgence.
Was she in that? Jeez.
She was as Patricia Whitmore. President's daughter. I saw her in the
I forgot about that.
I was going to say, I'm not surprised you erased that from my mind.
Yeah, it does sound like she's redeemed herself from that pile of shit.
She's done some good stuff. She was good in Greta. I've seen Greta. She was good in that.
Dude, definitely watch The Guest. That one's amazing.
I quite enjoyed The Guest, although overall I thought the film kind of crashed out in the last 20 minutes. But
she seems like one of the actresses who would seem like a different person in every role. So you don't watch it and think, "Oh, that's Micah Monroe."
No.
Sure. She's actually got the capacity to change her demeanor and her personality quite a lot.
All right, guys, what are you giving this out of 10? Blue?
I'd say a good 9.
Good 9. So that's quite long legs indeed. Stepenzo?
For indie horror, 9, solid 9. If you're, for what an indie horror means,
Al?
Great.
The same. I mean, people who used to Hollywood slop will probably not like this film that much. They'll probably think, one of my friends said, "Oh, it's boring, it's overrated, it's it's a waste of time." But the creative art, and I said this in my review, the cinematography, the framing, the light, the sound design, the way it all combines it's something I've never seen before. It really is. I would give this like the highest 9 to 9.5 out of 10.
Have you watched Blackcoat's Daughter? If not,
I need to go back and watch the back catalogue. I've never seen any of this dude's stuff before.
Blackcoat's Daughter is one of those movies that legitimately creeped me out. I was watching it alone in the dark and with the volume up, and I was like, this movie's fucking spooky, man. Ugh.
Awesome. I will definitely check it out.
Cool. Isn't it funny that this director he started out as an actor and he was basically Dorky David in Legally Blonde.
Yep.
Wow.
And now he's a pretty.
But his dad is Anthony Perkins, so it's in his blood, dude. The horror.
Shit, this is the son of Anthony Perkins.
That's what I said. Yeah, he's
holy shit,
psycho, baby.
He's got talent to spare. I will definitely be checking out those. And the other one was Gretel and Hansel, wasn't it?
Yeah, God,
I didn't mind that one. I thought it was cool.
You can see him. You can see the resemblance. Definitely.
Yeah, he's got it. See it there.
Definitely. Yeah, I was impressed. I mean, anything else this guy does, especially if it is in the horror or thriller genre, I will absolutely be checking out because I was really impressed.
How nuts. So the kid on the left on a group that I'm in on Facebook about the Eagles from Space 1999. There is a photograph of this kid. I thought it was a young Josh Brolin, but it's not. It's this kid. And he's opening a poster of Farrah Fawcett up, but with a Christmas tree behind him. But just in one corner of the room, you can just catch the side of a big toy eagle that he's also been bought for Christmas. I'll see if I can find that photo. It's definitely this kid.
I was going to say, surely Farrah Fawcett is the Christmas tree.
Well,
I'd open more than her poster up.
Let's move on. So, okay, so that's a big recommendation for Long Legs. Inside Man, I know that you've got some obscure blaxploitation movie you want to recommend. Jump
As
in.
a matter of fact, I actually decided that I was going to, because obviously we've got the little interview with Charles Band tomorrow. I thought what I'd do is I thought I'd kind of bone up a little bit on some Full Moon and Empire stuff. So I kind of went straight in with Ginger Dead Man with Gary Busey, man. Yeah, what a movie! Oh,
I love it. I got a full length commentary on my channel somewhere of that one.
Watch it. It's really funny.
Yeah, it's quite the movie.
This is not one of his that I've seen. This is one of his more recent.
This movie's ridiculous.
Oh, good lord!
Yeah, it's actually on the Full Moon Features YouTube channel as well.
Yeah. There's like there's three Ginger Dead Man movies, and then there's a crossover with Ginger Dead Man versus Evil Bong.
Evil Bong, yeah.
Evil Bong.
Evil Bong, yeah.
I said it.
Okay. And this is Gary Busey, like oh Jesus.
Yeah, he's in one. He's in one opening. He's in one very confusing opening scene, and then he does the voice of the little gingerbread puppet for the rest of the movie.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It's
there he is with Charles Brand, who we're interviewing tomorrow night, guys.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
It's going to be an amazing interview. Word.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, did you manage to? Are you managing to get through that book?
I've only a little bit because I was pretty busy today, but I'm going to whack it on tomorrow and listen to as much of it as I can. How many hours is it altogether?
I think it's probably about 9, maybe 10. Something like that.
I'll put it on after this.
Have
you seen anything else of Full Moons as well? Look at these.
Well, I've actually just sorted out a stack that I'm ready to watch. So between now and tomorrow, I've got to cram in Bad CGI Gator,
right?
Crawl Space with Klaus Kinski. The First Puppet Master.
Yeah.
I'm going to rewatch Trancers. That's a classic.
I think you should watch if you can, because I recommend a couple of the best ones. I know you've seen Robojocks, haven't you?
Yeah.
Which is, I mean, that's one of his best.
Classic.
The Eliminators is really good.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw that with Andrew Prine from V.
I don't think I've actually seen the Eliminators. No.
The Eliminators is kind of like think of it as a sort of think of it as the A-Team meets RoboCop. That's a really good pitch for it. And you've got this guy who's half man, half cyborg. There's a ninja, and I mean, it was just really good. I had the poster.
You got tracks for legs.
Yeah, well, he's got robot legs as well, but he's got different. He comes with lots of different bits,
attachments.
Yeah, some serious Warhammer 40,000 going on there. When was this made?
This is in the 1980s.
Oh, there you go.
There's Roy Doctris. It's. Do you know what? It's a really fun movie.
I feel like I need to see this.
It was quite. Now. You've got Denise Crosby.
Oh, Christ, it's her.
Yeah,
Denise Crosby.
Yeah, she's the female lead in it. Andrew Prine, who recently passed away from V. He's great in it as well. He kind of gets.
So this has got to be just before Next Gen then, because that was 87, wasn't it?
Everybody thought this was going to get a sequel because it was one of Charles Band's best, and I felt sure that they were going to do another one. Got this is a blatant rip-off of one of the robots from the Black Hole. But yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, as with all of Full Moon and not necessarily all of Full Moon and all of Empire's movies.
There are a lot that are fun, and you can appreciate that they're kind of reaching for the stars and landing on the moon. And then there are some that are just like chuck it out the door and let's make a few bucks. But
yeah, I mean, I think with some of the franchises, things like Puppet Master. I mean, they really tailed off in a pretty dramatic way. I think after 2, really.
Yeah, I've only seen the first 2.
Yeah, and they kind of went really, really kind of off the rails. But also, Ginger Dead Man, as Stupenza was saying, that's kind of had a few sequels as well. But his films are entertaining. I mean, these were a bunch of movies. Look, I'm not a fan of 80s movies, right, at all. I really am not a fan of 80s movies. I think the 80s were really overrated. Most of the people that
how dare you? Anyway, but carry on.
Most of the people that nostalgize, if that's a word, about the 80s, I think either really genuinely can't remember what it was really like because it was a fucking awful time, or it's kind of a made up memory because the music was shit. 90% of the music was shit. And almost 100% of the movies were shit. The thing about almost 100% of the movies were shit is
I'm going to disagree with you there, but
it's a bold statement, right? It's a bold statement, but the 80s was a decade where there was so much content, there was so much material out there, and what we like from the 80s. And there are movies that I do like from the 80s, but what we like from the 80s is really a fragment of what was put out. Almost all of it was garbage. Genuinely,
hold on. We're going to put this to the test right now.
Genuinely go through all of the movies, right? If you were to go through every single cinema release and straight to video release of the 80s and go through them one by one, year by year, right, I guarantee you that almost all of them you will say that's garbage, or I've never seen it, or I never wanted to see it. Now I'm not talking about Aliens, and I'm not talking about Terminator or movies of that ilk, because there are a certain amount of
good movies that came out in the 80s. You're not talking about those.
No, that's the handful of good movies that came out in the 80s.
Well, okay, I'm sorry, I'm not going to accept this.
Move your microphone back where it was, Lance.
We're gonna put this to the test right now.
I've got him riled up.
Yeah, we're going to put this to the test right now. So I'm going to name some films from 1988 alone.
Right. Okay. Right. So first of all, right.
Early 80s.
You must remember that opinion is very subjective. There's no objectivity here. So,
no. But you made it you made it sound like it was a definitive fact inside, man. So we're going to have to. Right. So I'm going to say you can say hit or miss with these films, and anyone can answer. The Boy Who Could Fly.
It was all right. I thought the score
good.
I thought the best thing about that was really the score by Bruce Broughton.
And the flying sequence at the end, which was fucking incredible.
It was
and
the
acting from the child leads was really good. Yeah. And the subplot with the kid with the bullies was also really good.
Yeah.
Case dismissed. So Tucker.
Garbage.
Didn't see Tucker. I didn't see Tucker.
Absolute garbage.
Yeah, I would agree that was overrated. Frantic with Harrison Ford.
I'd say that was overrated.
Coming to America, Eddie Murphy.
Love it.
Shit.
No, that was good. That was cool.
The royal penis is clean, Gary. Come on.
Exactly. Stealing Home with Mark Harmon and Jodie Foster.
Average.
Yeah.
One of the best indie movies ever made, I would argue. Married to the Mob.
No.
Michelle Pfeiffer and Matthew Modine. Great film.
No.
Betrayed.
Betrayed.
Betrayed. Deborah Winger. Where she goes undercover and with the far right. Where she
I can't say I've seen it. I can't say I've seen it. No.
Some Kind of Wonderful.
No.
Action Jackson.
Bad, good, bad. His bad, good.
That was a good film.
That's kind of
Okay, Cinema Paradiso.
Yeah, brilliant.
Great
film.
movie. Great
A
movie.
Fish Called Wanda.
Awesome.
Brilliant.
Overrated.
The Hidden.
Yeah, that was okay.
The Pickup Artist.
Remind me.
Fish Called Wanda was so
Downey
funny.
Jr.
I can't remember it. 8 Men Out. I think that's a great film. It's the one about the Chicago Black Sox when they try and throw the World Series.
No.
Did John Cusack in that one?
John Cusack is in that. The Blob.
Yeah. Blob is amazing.
Fantastic.
Blob remake. Yeah. So Die Hard.
And by me.
Okay. Die Hard's my mother's favorite movie.
Die Hard. Willow.
I like it.
Shit.
I like Willow.
Good Morning Vietnam.
Yeah, right. And I'll tell you why I think it's shit.
I was a child when Willow came up, so it's all nostalgia for me.
Okay, well, I worked on it, and it's.
Oh God!
All right,
didn't go back to the TV show.
I had
then,
a fun time with Val Kilmer on that. Good Morning Vietnam.
Overrated.
Overrated. I agree.
The Running Man.
Overrated.
Garbage.
One of Arnold's silliest movies.
Yeah, stupid film.
lines in it, man.
Red Heat.
Mick
Red Heat, also one of Arnold's other silliest movies.
Yeah, overrated.
I think Red Heat's great. Young Guns.
Overrated.
It's not bad.
Midnight Run.
Yeah, it's a good film.
Well, I'm glad you said that. I would have ejected you from the stream if you're answering something else. Who Framed Roger Rabbit?
Okay.
Brilliant.
All right.
Yeah.
That's
another
one. Big with Tom Hanks.
That was
fantastic. Except for the pedo stuff, Big is good.
Inside Man. I know this is one of your favorite films, so you don't need to answer. Cocktail with Tom Cruise.
I do like Cocktail. I like Cocktail a lot.
The Beast. The Beast. That's the one set in the tank in Afghanistan with the Russians. Very good film. The Beast. Predator.
Okay.
That's shit film.
Okay.
Well, Predator's a stupid movie on paper. When you read it, this is like there's nothing there. But for some reason,
it's a horror film, but they replaced
the movie has everything.
It's great. RoboCop.
RoboCop's one of my favorites.
Yes,
Hello. Look at my avatar.
One of the best satires, yeah.
Hope and Glory.
Do you know what? The funny thing about Hope and Glory was when I first saw it at the cinema, I thought this is an amazing film. And I rewatched it a couple of times since. One of the rewatches I had was probably about a month ago, and I thought, "Wow, this is actually quite a bad film."
It's not as good as it thinks it is. I agree.
It's not as good as it's certainly not as good as I remember.
But compared to a lot of stuff today, it's pretty good, I would say. But it's above average. But I wouldn't say okay. But I wouldn't call it terrible. Stakeout. Richard Dreyfuss.
That's was that directed by John Badham? Is that John Badham?
Yeah, I think it's a great film.
Yeah, I think it's. I think it's okay.
You're such a Debbie Downer. Empire of the Sun.
Great film.
Okay, yeah, it's good.
Broadcast News.
It's okay.
The Princess Bride.
I
think Princess Bride is overrated. I really do.
No, I disagree.
Yeah.
Angel Heart.
Great film. Great film.
Angel Heart's very underrated in my view.
He's very good.
De Niro is a great devil.
La Bamba.
Shit.
Yeah, I don't like music biopics.
My mum liked that film. I did not.
Three Men and a Baby.
Gary might be onto something here.
Prince of Darkness.
It's okay. Yeah,
Stand and Deliver.
No.
Beetlejuice.
Beetlejuice.
Never did anything for me.
Mississippi Burning.
It's okay.
Hellbound. Hellraiser 2.
Shit.
Okay.
Yes.
I think Hellraiser 3 is my favorite. 2 is great too.
I worked on that one.
I love the scene in the bar.
Lost Boys isn't the best vampire movie, but it's like the most 80s movie ever.
Yeah.
Near Dark is more like this. The darker wasn't more serious one.
We've also got No Way Out with Kevin Costner. Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
That's all right. Yeah.
I prefer Dutch over Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
Man,
Legend, 1985.
That's 1 year of the 90s.
Yeah, I know, but that's not every. That's not every movie that was released in that 1 year, though, is it?
Also, the late 80s.
But I've just read out a selection of them. But I mean, there was lots of shit stuff that came out straight to video.
Gary likes the 70s more. All right, that's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You better believe it, baby.
Here's another good selection of movies from the 80s. Thank you for this, Aaron Charman. We don't allow Inside Man to cause trouble very often, but when he does, he really likes to go for it. What an antagonistic person. Right.
I think in the 80s, VHS went mental, and that meant there was a lot of films coming out, and quite a lot of them were crap. But
anyway, Gary, your
the
turn.
80s is a legendary decade.
Your turn's finished now. Northern, what have you seen? What do you recommend?
Oh, this is the first time I was watching it. Enzo recommended it to me for a while because he wants to do a stream with me on it. So it's none other than Paprika. It's an anime about people who can go into other people's dreams, and it's a real cool spy film as well, where they have to catch someone who's got some secrets in some of these dreams. It's very trippy, but it's very fun to watch, and you kind of get lost in the madness. But the characters are great, especially the cop who's kind of had this little regret and is scared to go even more further into his own psyche to deal with it. It's hard to explain properly. You have to watch it.
For some reason, having seen the cover of this, I just feel this is a Stupenzo movie for sure.
Oh, it's excellent.
Yeah,
no, that's not Paprika.
You're right. Yeah, Inception rips off Paprika. I agree.
That's a different Paprika.
That's not the Paprika I'm talking about.
Not the Paprika. You sure, Stupenzo? I feel this is the Paprika.
No, I've seen that one too, though. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, yeah?
No.
Which one is better, this one or the other Paprika?
No, dude, the anime Paprika is like master class, dude. It's amazing.
Okay, what year is the Paprika?
2000 and 2005, 2009? I don't know, somewhere around there.
Was it? I thought it was the Nantes. What's the name of the director?
Satoshi Kon. Kon, and
he did a few movies as well.
Do you know what you should do? You should do a stream about that Paprika movie and the animated one, and
there you go.
Talk about the merits of both films. So you're talking about the one directed by Satoshi Kon.
Yeah.
And the thing is, because this is the same guy who did Perfect Blue, which is a proper man fuck to watch. But this one seems to be a little bit more easier to watch because it's very light-hearted in its way. It's very fun and it's very exciting. While Perfect Blue was a lot more tragic and dark and creepy, but you couldn't help
mature audiences only. Kids can get into Paprika. Kids would like Paprika.
Yeah.
If you're like a little preteen, a teenage, if you're into if you like Indiana Jones style kind of like if that's not too violent for you, then you can watch Paprika.
Please explain to me what's going on with the Frogs marching band in this scene.
So you're into people's dreams, we're observing people's dreams. So they're all abstract and wild. But then, the dream starts seeping out into the real world, and that's when it starts getting hella crazy.
Yeah.
Looks like
that's the one thing that confused me. How the hell did this dream machine suddenly leak out into the real world? I don't think it's fully explained unless I missed something, because this was my first time watching it. And that doll girl was just creeped the fucking hell out of me. It's just creepy as hell.
They think the movie's over. They think the movie's over and they save the day, and then they look out the window and there's a giant talking doll girl.
I was like, what the hell?
It's like a nightmare version of Mr. Stay Puffed. So, my God. This does look good, actually. I've got to check this out for sure.
Yeah, and you've got a very good female protagonist as well, and she's a little bit serious, but she has this alter ego, which is Paprika. And in the dream, she's actually a bit more bright and bubbly, but it seems like that character is starting to seep into psyche as well.
Yeah, specifically one of the most impressive things about this movie is the transition shots, like going from one shot to another. Sometimes they do really trippy, mirror images and stuff like that, and great transition effects and all kinds of cool stuff.
It's almost like reminds me of The Thing. Some of these.
Yeah, totally.
Oh yeah, there's some weird sort of like body horror kind of things a little bit. This is one of his dreams because he has a past that's to do with movies, and I don't want to give away the twist.
They do like 6 amazing smash cuts in that scene alone, like within 3 minutes. Yeah. It's like, dude, wow.
Yeah, you're like wondering what the hell is happening. It starts off where he's in the circus, he's doing spy stuff, talking to people, being incognito. There's our guy, and it turns out the guy is him. And he's just sinking into the floor into all these weird settings, like spy movies, a Tarzan movie. It's crazy, crazy stuff.
That that image alone says so much about Japanese.
Yeah, I remember the tagline because I was a huge fan of Perfect Blue and other movies he made. But when the trailer for this came out, the tagline was "This is your mind on anime." I was like, dude, hell yeah.
Yeah, and you got the guy who was a very obese. You got the crazy scientist as well, and he's a load of fun.
Yeah, tell you what, man, I wanna watch this now. So I might be up for coming on that stream if I've seen it by then.
Total 9 out of 10, man. This one's like almost a 10 out of 10, really.
Anyone else want to give it a rating? Who's seen it?
So I've not seen this one. I've seen Perfect Blue, but I've not seen this. I need to check it
out. Northern, what's your rating for this out of 10?
I'll give it a 9 out of 10. It needs to be watched. Satoshi Kon does some very good, trippy, confusing but very well executed.
Jamalama saying it's on YouTube right now for free.
All right,
that's not so bad.
If somebody can find the link, grab it and let's put it in the chat. So
I'm gonna watch that.
Fab. Okay, yeah, I'm sold. I want to see this movie. It looks like the sort of film I'd actually like to own as well because it's so original.
Yeah, I got it last Saturday. It's for just a couple of quid at CEX.
Did you get a Blu-ray of it or just a DVD?
No, just DVD.
Want to buy a DVD? So one of them down the pub. Okay, fabulous. We'll move on. Stepenzo, you wanted to talk about The Neon Highway, which actually
you guys know I love Lifetime and Hallmark movies, and this isn't a Lifetime Hallmark movie, but it has kind of those vibes. It was one of these movies I just watched randomly with Mom. It's got Beau Bridges playing like a burnt out rebel country star who meets a desperate maintenance man who's got a song. He's trying to sell his song. And it was just a really fun, sweet, warm-hearted movie, kind of about the dangers and also just like kind of a realistic telling of like what it's like to try to, put your music out there. And also kind of the backstabbery you get and the ego you get with rock stars or music legends. And also just kind of like the bonds you have, like when you go on tour with a guy on the road and play music with somebody. It was just it was a fun movie. It was, it's a good movie you could watch with mother or your grandma or whatever, she'd like it,
Is this,
not too offensive.
Is this Beau Bridges trying to do his own crazy hat like his brother?
Yeah, but it's not nearly as depressing. Not nearly. I mean, he's kind of doing that. Yeah. And you could say Beau Bridges is trying a little too hard. But he sells it. He sells it well, and he plays all the music that they play is all real. That's one thing I liked about it. All the music performances are all the actors like doing it for real. You could tell. I mean, if it isn't real, then it fooled me. Let me put it that way.
It's a bizarre that there's 3 reviews for it on IMDb.
This movie came out.
One of them is 9 out of 10, not a bad flick. One's 2 out of 10, holes in the story you can drive a truck through. And the other one's middle of the road, 5 out of 10, wrong.
Yeah.
Wrong
I mean, like I
time,
said,
so.
it's got those made for Hallmark kind of vibes. It's just a fun little hits all those emotional notes like by the numbers type movie, but it was a good watch. I enjoyed it. I don't think I'll watch it a bunch of times, but I enjoyed it. It made me feel good watching it. And it's like, not offensive, me, being a debaucherous monster. It's fun to watch like some family friendly films here and there. And this is one I'd recommend.
Yeah, I quite like the sound of that. I'm a big fan of both the Bridges brothers. So before I forget, because I meant to do this last night, just want to give a shout out to a great character actor that we lost this week. Shannon Doherty also passed away. God bless her soul. But I was a particularly big fan of James Seeking, or as his original acting name was James B. Seeking. At some point, he decided he didn't need the B anymore. Many of you will remember him from Hill Street Blues. He was one of the main guys in that show. But one of my favorite performances of his is in an older film called Narrow Margin with Gene Hackman.
Good movie.
Yeah, set on the train. Very good. And Gary, it came out in 1990, so just on that cusp of 80s greatness. So, it was riding that 80s energy, and another great film that you loved. But yeah, he was a great actor, and he's just one of those guys that sort of you know, always did a good job. He was in the Magnificent Seven ride, which I do actually have the DVD of. I've got all of the Magnificent Seven rip-off movies. He was Doogie Howser MD's dad. I totally forgot that.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, with a young Neil Patrick Harris way before he did Starship Troopers. Just a really solid actor, and he made a tremendous contribution to television and cinema. And I thought he was very, very versatile, particularly, you know, he's kind of playing a hired gentleman assassin in Narrow Margin, and he really does something great with that role. So yeah, I just wanted to give him a shout out and honor him a bit there. Stepenzo, you said you also briefly wanted to mention Twisters.
Yeah, I figure we probably talk about it more in depth next week, but I just, I saw it and I liked it. I think you guys would probably like it too if you like the original. I think it's debatable which one is slightly better, the original or the remake, but or the sequel. But I mean, obviously better special effects, kind of similar plot points, except a few switcheroos here and there. But my main criticism, trading out all the Van Hagar and Dad Rock with Bro Country. I was not a fan of the constant Bro Country playing. But you could argue that it fits the tone of the setting better. But I don't know. We in Blue Collar, we got Twister coming out tomorrow on my channel, and we just had such a great laugh at all the orchestral music with the like ripping electric guitar. That is not the vibe here. It's more like slide guitar, you know, boing, boing. A lot of that twang going on constantly. There's like scenes where they're chasing tornadoes, and it's just like literally like. You know, that kind of music. I don't know. It was
not too sure about that. Did anybody hear, apart from myself, because I did get to do it before it got scrapped, do the Twister ride at Universal Studios?
No.
So they created a tornado in a soundstage, like a real one, but using special effects and massive wind machines. And and it was a massive set of kind of America small town with bleachers and stuff. So me and my friend that were visiting the park, we sat at the top of these bleachers, right? And one of the things that happened was there's a massive rain effect that comes in, and the cover above the bleachers collapses, and right where we were sitting was where all the water pulled down. So we got completely soaked through from head to foot. But they also had a cow in the middle of the tornado rotating round in the room, like mooing at the audience, which was pretty funny. That ride was there for about 5 years, I think. It's
here. I'm
now.
Sharing my screen. Pull this up.
Yeah, let me do that. Is that the ride in question?
Apparently.
Yeah, that's the one.
Let's see, this tornado's about to rip through here. Let's see.
We might get copyright.
No. This is some dude's like home footage or whatever.
Yeah, so this was it. It was actually, I mean, it was very effective. We went on it twice, and I think it was still there when I went back another time. It's difficult to see, but
there it is. Here we go.
Yeah, it is there. It does appear in the middle of the room. It's quite effective. You're not going to get the full effect of it here, and then gradually it demolishes all the set around you as well. And things fly through the air.
That's awesome.
It's just reminding me of Alien Attack from Beverly Hills Cop 3.
Yeah,
where the subway train comes in and
which is basically the Universal Earthquake ride, but with some aliens put in, Cylon aliens added.
Yeah, a few Cylons.
Yeah, that was pretty terrible. I don't know, man. I don't know how many films I need to see with tornadoes. I'm not all tornadoed out like Marvel, but I don't know. I don't know if I need to see.
Look, I'm going to spoil something, guys. Twister was kind of screwed with on copyright, so I'm doing like a fake out tomorrow. We got Night of the Twisters on YouTube, and then Twister will be available for people who aren't in US or Canada, and it'll also be up on Rumble. There'll be links to that. But Night of the Twisters starring Devon Sawa, I was like kind of watching it to make fun of it. Made for TV tornado movie.
It's actually a really good.
It was intense. It was intense, bro. It was more intense than Twister. I was like making fun of it, but I was like, dude, this movie's like I'm like on the edge of my seat here.
No, it's because that's based on a real incident.
True
and
story.
It's a true story, and they cut to real footage of all the houses destroyed at the end. I remember seeing that. It's a very good film.
Dude, I was like very impressed by that made-for-TV schlocky movie.
Yeah, it was. I'd say it was as good as the original Twister. The original Twister had Seymour Hoffman in it, didn't it?
Yeah, the original Twister has like great characters, all the characters, the ensemble, everybody's got their own little, they got, Philip Seymour Hoffman as the rocker dude / crystal meth dealer or whatever he does. And you got like the little nerdy girl and the weather guy with the goatee. You got, what's his name from Ferris Bueller? Cameron. He's like the map guy, the cartographer or whatever. They all got like an ensemble, it's great. There was less of that. Like Philip Seymour Hoffman was dusty.
So go one at a time.
I know. I don't want to interrupt anyone. That's it.
Depends. I finish what you were saying.
Yeah, sorry.
Man. I was just saying how like I think Twisters doesn't really have like as many standout ensemble characters. It's like the main two leads and then the rest, kind of,
Right. What would you give the new Twisters movie out of 10, mate?
I would be in the boat where I liked the original Twister a little bit more, but I mean, yeah, it's a solid 7, solid 6.5. It's a good. Definitely go watch it in the theater. It's gonna look cool.
Is it worth going to the big screen? Is it going to be more impactful on the big screen?
Yeah, dude, the special effects are wild. Big F5 tornado, man.
Well, seeing as I can't even afford to go out for dinner for my birthday, I may have to postpone, but we'll see.
I'll ship you a meatloaf.
Thank you very much, man. Might be off by the time it gets here, but Blue, what you got to recommend us this week?
Have you seen the new trailer for the new Netflix Terminator anime? I'm interested. I think it looks good.
It's got Boss Girl vibes, but yeah, I'm interested.
Yeah, I was seeing that as well. As like the only
just because the animation style does look really good, so I'm hoping
it can't be worse than the last Terminator film. So
yeah, but it came out today.
It's only up from there.
Yeah.
Is it called Terminator Zero?
Yes.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
I mean, if they do the story that I suggested on Retro Nerd Girls channel about a year and a half ago, I'll be very happy. Because
or very unhappy.
Well, that's true, but I mean, I'm never going to get to make it. So, I mean, yeah, this is coming out on Netflix.
If you're going to rip your idea off, they should at least give you like associate producer credit or something.
Yeah, it's coming out August 29th.
Well, mine was all set in the future. It was all about the pitch for my Terminator 3 to round off the trilogy. Is the whole of Terminator 3 is set in the future. It's about the final assault on Skynet, organized by John Connor. So it's one big massive battle, and
how they went back in time.
Yeah, and the film finishes with the first Terminator being sent back, and then they realize there's a second section past that where the second one is being sent back. So you get those, and it all just ties in.
That's all we ever wanted, really, wasn't it? To see the war and John Connor actually.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and they just let's have a quick look at this. I don't know if I might get a copy.
It's only a minute long, so
I'll keep the.
They better be 30 minutes, 20 minutes, maybe. Come on, dude.
So it's not an anthology then with different stories. It's one narrative going all the way through.
Dude, that would be great if it was an anthology, dude. Just think of all the stories you could do post Judgment Day. I mean, the idea is humans in the future live like rats. We are constantly on alert, constantly being hunted. Like any false move, and a Terminator can pull up and just kill you on sight.
Yeah, exactly.
And I mean, that's why the first Terminator is really the only one that captures that dread when Kyle Reese is going back to the base, and you got that random woman just crying, and those kids like looking at the
I love that.
TV.
I love that scene. I love that.
There's no hope. It's like what It's like, dude, it's like this the despair. Like we've all and they kind of briefly touched on it on Salvation. Like we've all lost so much. Like what do we? How do we continue? And it's like we have to destroy Skynet. It's the only option.
Yeah, it really should be the last days of humanity, shouldn't it?
Blue, did you have anything else you've watched as in an actual show or movie?
Everyone's been talking about Lance, but the whole Kevin Conroy doing his last voice as Batman for the DC animated movie, The Crisis on Infinite Earth Part 3.
Have you actually seen the movie?
Yeah. I mean, they're not the best, but just hearing Kevin Conroy's voice one last time, it's easy to find it, Lance. It's only like a 30-second clip, but that's his final performance because everyone's pissed off that the Justice League game was so terrible, and this is actual Kevin Conroy's, his last time being Batman. So.
Yeah, because
disrespected him bad.
He passed away, didn't he?
Yeah.
I think it was cancer or
yeah, it was cancer.
Yeah.
So this is so okay. Just so I've got the picture here. He's disrespected in Justice League Crisis on Infinite Earths Part 3 because that's a big pile of poo.
Yeah.
But what is out that's good?
It's called Crisis on Infinite Earths. It was the game. The game was called The Suicide Squad Kills Justice League, and they embarrassed the shit out of Batman, and everyone's pissed off about that. But that wasn't his final performance. This was, and this is on HBO Max. It's the whole multiverse is being destroyed. So it's Kevin Conroy voicing Batman for the final time, and it's only like a 1 minute clip on YouTube or
but other than
Twitter,
Batman saying one couple lines, like how is the movie? Like,
I mean, it's okay.
I can't believe there's a part 3.
I'm still confused. Are you talking about Justice League? Is that the movie you're talking about?
No,
not Justice League.
No, the movie's called Crisis on Infinite Earths. That's the movie.
Yeah.
Well,
It's
the
about
movie
animated.
the movie's called Justice League Crisis on Infinite
Well,
Earths.
yes. I'm
Right.
saying,
So
yeah.
that's what I'm asking. Yeah. Okay.
That's what's saying, Lance, because people were pissed off because previously it was called Suicide Squad Kills Justice League, and they just embarrassed Batman, and that pissed 99% of the fan base off. It's right there, Lance.
Right. So I like this. Aaron Chapman talking about the Terminator. A fire in a broken flat screen TV doesn't work so well, does it? That's good. That.
Yeah, but all these are on HBO Max now if anyone wants to watch them.
The animated DC stuff tends to be pretty good, to be honest.
I mean, I like the what I've seen of animated superhero stuff is fine. It's just I'm in my 50s now. I might have 25 years left. And of those 25 years, if I can spend 24 of them never seeing any other superhero movies, that would be great. So I'm quite happy to watch other content. But if people like it, then... So are you saying this is good? Or is it...
Yeah, it's good. I mean, it's never as good as the comics, but it's good.
Okay. All right. So if you're a fan of Kevin Conroy, do go and check that out. What would you give it out of 10?
I'll say 8.
Okay, well, that's a pretty high rating, Chris. It's pretty high.
Yeah, you get spoiled by the comics because the comics are one thing and then the adaptations.
I was going to say, is it similar to the comics, or is it like Flashpoint where they kind of ruined it?
Yeah, they definitely make changes, but the changes I'm okay with.
Okay, cool. I'll check it out.
All right, we're going to change topics and move on to international terrorism. So Attack on Finland is a film that came to my attention yesterday because we were doing our review of the excellent House of Dragon, although some people don't seem to like episode 5. Jesus Christ, not every episode can have dragons fighting around like submarine Spitfires, okay? But one of the cast members from House of Dragon is in this show. In fact, that's her on the left on the poster. And I just happened to catch that on her IMDb list. And I thought, oh, Attack on Finland, let me read this. I saw the trailer for it, and I thought this actually looks pretty good. I'm about 2/3 of the way through watching it because I ran out of time because I got an extremely long phone call just as I put it on. But Al managed to watch all of it. I mean, this is a Nordic film. We don't get many big budget films from that part of the world. It's going all out to have a Hollywood polish. I like what I've seen so far. Critic Al, what did you make of it overall?
Yeah, I thought it was all right. It's almost like two films in one. So you've got one half of the film where they come in and attack the palace and take the hostages and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And then the second half of the film is kind of like a movie version of Call of Duty.
Yeah, I got the impression like the first half of the film is like a sort of a siege movie.
Yes, yeah,
and
exactly.
And then the second half of the film is like a Jason Bourne film.
Yeah, pretty much. It's like very small, like these guys here. You can see the winter camo and stuff. So they're doing some sniping, and you've got one guy goes in to try and get the hostage and all that kind of stuff. So,
do you know what? I want that beanie now. I want that beanie. So if anyone can get me that beanie as a birthday present, my birthday's on Thursday. It's not too late.
It was okay. I think one of the problems with it, and it's going to sound a little bit weird, is because it's a Finnish film. I don't feel like you get much character out of people, but that's because Finnish people are kind of that way, if you know what I mean.
Oh yeah, when you're talking about Scandinavians, Norwegians, Swedish, Danish, and then Finnish who don't consider themselves Scandinavians, they get upset if you say that. But people from that part of the world, by their very nature, are quite reserved. And
yes,
from experience, because my father's Danish, and he was exactly like that. And their style of acting, if you watch shows like The Killing, is it The Killing? That first big breakout Nordic noir show, which was amazing. They have got that very sort of reserved, but bubbling undertone of emotion. It's a different style, but it's good.
I think part of that is with both the Nordic and Scandinavian is that the language is actually quite limited. It's not a flowered language. It's not particularly sort of prose language. Everything's very straightforward. It's a very very straightforward language.
It's almost like they're delivering reports all the time.
It is, and there's no waste in their language, but there's also no flourishes in the languages.
So the film just seems to be lacking emotion a little bit. You get these big emotional beats, and you're not really feeling it because it's not dubbed. You're getting subtitles. There is some English in the movie.
I'll tell you what. Someone online really likes Nika Salavanian because about 50 of the 75 pictures are all of her that have been uploaded. There's even like, here's another one, and here's another one, and here's another one, here's another one.
Yeah.
How many more do we need?
But it's quite a high budget. Some of the exterior shots are really well done. Like they threw money at it, definitely.
If you like a sort of fairly undemanding action film, you're right. The weakest thing about it is the character narratives are thin.
But there's a lot of subtitles in it as well. A lot of subtitles.
Yeah, I don't mind that.
Does it have that?
It's a good movie overall.
Does it have that kind of that Nordic edge? Does it feel Nordic apart from the fact that they're speaking in Finnish?
Yeah, it does. Again, in their character actions and stuff like that. It is a very, very political movie. It's talking all about NATO and Sweden, I think, joining. Finland and Sweden joining NATO.
Yeah,
and it's basically kind of a plot to stop that, or at least delay that. Because I keep forgetting that Finland actually borders Russia.
Yeah, I'm assuming that this is very recent. Then this movie.
Yeah, no, this is like 2021, I think, 2022. Right, okay. So I
think it was. Might have even been 2019, but it's certainly in the last few years.
When you think about sort of what Russia did to Ukraine because they were worried about them joining NATO, it's quite topical. But yeah, it's very political. There's some good action in it. It's just, again, it may well be because it is. Nordic, and we're used to that kind of different presentation. It was kind of lacking in the character and the delivery, but that may well be just an unfair judgment by me. I kind of felt like it was something almost like a made-for-TV movie, the way I felt about it, rather than something I would check out in the cinema. But I didn't hate it by any means. I enjoyed it.
Interesting. Okay. Anybody else see it?
No, but it's one that I'm definitely going to catch it. Definitely catch that one.
Yeah, I mean it's sort of undemanding action fare, but overall, I give it a solid 7 out of 10.
Yeah, I think that's where I am. 7 out of 10. As I say, there's two very, very different contrasts to the two halves of the film. But yeah, I certainly didn't have any major problems with it that I can't put to me just maybe not quite understanding the tone of the film due to where it's from. Let's just put it that way. There wasn't a great deal wrong with it. It's just the characters felt a bit off to me, and I didn't get their motivations, and I didn't feel like I knew any of the characters at all, which led to a little bit of a lack of investment. But that might be on me.
No, it's not you. I would agree that was the. I think the female bodyguard was the only one we really got to connect with to any great degree. She got a little bit of a narrative.
And the guy with the moustache up there is like the head hero, if you know what I mean.
But we find out almost nothing about him, don't we?
Nothing, literally nothing. He's a blank slate,
other than he likes his moustache and he's good at killing people. But there's no sort of personal stakes with him. So I know exactly what you're saying. one of the reasons I wanted to talk about the next film was because we were going to talk about this one, and I thought it would be interesting to mention an older film that has a similar narrative, but where I find that you're quite invested in all of the characters, including some of the characters on the baddie side. And that for me is Ewan Lloyd's 1982 production of Who Dares Wins, which is released as the final option in America. It was called Who Dares Wins over here because we all understood what that meant.
Yeah.
This is the UK cinema poster. I got to see this at the cinema. I loved it so much I went back to see it again.
Same here.
The next day. Let's have a quick butchers at a trailer for it.
We are dealing with the hardcore revolutionaries who are using the peace movement as a cover.
There's nothing.
You know what? Do you know what?
Favorite
Watching
action
that,
scenes.
watching that, you know, I mean, it really kind of pumps me up watching that, and it just brings me right the way back to the time when I first saw it.
Yeah,
because it was
that time in the 1980s when nothing good was coming out and you hated all the films. I remember.
I think the fact that this was coming, you know, hot on the heels of, you know, Operation Nimrod, you know, the siege of the Iranian embassy, the siege busting of the Iranian embassy, and you know, there were plans to create something just prior to that, because there was, I think it was, I'm not sure whether it's what, I can't remember the name of the author. I think it might be Ken Follett, who wrote a book called The Tiptoe Boys. And this was kind of loosely based on The Tiptoe Boys by Ken Follett. But of course, it's been altered considerably in order for it to mirror the Iranian embassy siege. You know, there are parts of that look identical to the Iranian embassy siege. Especially when they're fast roping down the side of the building in particular. That was Heatherton Hall, which is you know, a famous building that's within the grounds of Pinewood Studios.
It's also the building that I got married in, and in fact, I got married in the room where all the hostages are being held.
Oh, you got Heatherton Hall?
Yeah.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah. And then when I did the speech at Alan Tompkins' funeral in the same room, my wisecracking joke that made everybody laugh was, "Oh, well, hey, it's good to be back here. I got married in this room. I'm divorced now." That got a big laugh.
Like with that specific shootout scene with the big long table, that is like one of my favorite shootout scenes ever because it's so realistic. Because the idea is like, how do you engage 3 opponents versus 1 with all these hostages? And the whole action scene takes like 5 seconds, but that's how you do it. You walk up to guy number 1, you throat punch him and grab the machine gun out of his hands, and then you shout, "Get down!" So all the innocent people get down, and then you shoot across the table to the guy across the room farthest away from you, and then the guy closest to you is like stunned. He looks over to what's happening, and before he realizes what's happening, you do a somersault on the ground. So when he opens fire, you're not there, you're behind the table, and then you pop up on the other side of the table and mow him down. And then as soon as that happens, you turn back down to throat punch guy and mow him on the ground. Just like, I mean, it's just so like, you know, that's how it should be done. It's like quick.
There's a guy on YouTube who's done a detailed breakdown of that.
Dude, Rob Agar. Yeah. It's amazing.
Basically went through it step by step as to why this is the perfect way to take out the 3 of them. He came so close to being cast as James Bond, and I really wish we'd seen a Lewis Collins.
Bond.
Because
what a great shame.
They said it was going to be too violent.
We didn't have.
Yeah, that's go on, Northern.
Yeah, they were scared he was going to be too much of a violent Bond there, which really makes me laugh, especially considering we had Timothy Dalton years later and Daniel Craig.
Well, I mean, I know the real reason that they didn't cast him. The real reason is that Lewis Collins got lucky getting the role in The Professionals. So he, because it wasn't originally supposed to be him, the actor who was going to play that role dropped out, and it was Anthony Andrews, I think, who he took over from. And both Anthony Andrews and big curly hair dude, I forget his name.
Martin Shaw.
Thank you. They were both RADA trained actors. Collins came up on his own. So he didn't go through what we call the set, right? So he wasn't part of that at the time. The upper echelons of the 80s establishment, British film, was incredibly hard to scale that ladder, either as an actor or as a filmmaker. You were either an actor for television, you were an actor for theatre, or you were an actor for film. Collins was one of the...
He did actually do very, very well in theatre.
No, I haven't finished yet. Hold on. The reason that they didn't like him was because he managed to break that mold. He went from TV. He got cast in films because he did a couple with Ewan Lloyd. They were going to do a sequel to this, but it didn't make enough money. Then, of course, he went to Italy and did the Quentin Tarantino thing and did a load of movies there. But it was a class thing. That's why they didn't cast him as Bond. They thought he was too common.
No, I disagree with that.
Oh, well, I've heard that story from valid sources on a number of occasions. They just thought he was too rough and ready, were the exact words I think that were used.
I know that he was
enough finesse.
I don't know. I mean,
I think it's bollocks. I think he would have made an excellent Bond.
Yeah, I think he would have made a great Bond. I really do think he would have made a great Bond. But I disagree with that. That there was some kind of a class conflict there.
What do you think was the reason he didn't get cast?
I just think he just wasn't right for the role at the time, and the fact that they still had, excuse me, they still had Roger Moore, so he was kind of on a retainer anyway.
Yeah.
And it's such a great kind of wrench for them once they've had an actor that's been in the role for so long. It was so entrenched, so established, and the audience were so really had Roger Moore in their minds, and it's very, very difficult to get out of that, to find somebody new.
No, indeed.
And Lewis Collins was, he was a very, very good actor. There's no question of that. He was a very, very good actor, a very good Shakespearean actor that many people don't really realize. A very competent, treading the boards, a very, very good theatre actor, as well as a television actor. But also, a lot of people don't realise that he was also in, I think it was 23rd Regiment SAS. So he was good enough to be in the SAS, and he actually wanted to join 22 Regiment SAS, but they said no. They actually declined.
Because he was too high profile. He was too high profile.
And he did pass selection. I think it was I think it was somewhere up in the northeast. I think I can't remember exactly where it was where he passed selection. Same place where Bear Grylls passed selection as well. But he was actually on the base with the SAS boys. They were putting him through his paces and everything. And where you see them go into the base, that actually is Stirling Lines. That's the former base in Hereford.
Right.
That is actually Stirling Lines with the Killing House, as well as the rest of the training areas. That is Stirling Lines.
But the except for the the sequence where they had the helicopter and the guys go down into the train carriage. That's on the back lot of Pinewood.
I would say that is definitely on the back lot.
Yeah,
but as he goes through the gates.
I know the bit you mean when see all the. It's a bit like the Bond scene with people in jumpsuits and everybody's on shooting ranges and shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that and of course they got him out, and they took him out and got him absolutely slaughtered. So he was really, they really went to town on him, made sure that they'd really get him pissed up.
Do my panel know what Who Dares Wins is also very famous for a certain sequence that we didn't really see much in films at this time? Does anybody want to hazard a guess at what that was? Or I'll throw it out to chat. Anyone? There was a scene with a punch-up with two women, which you didn't typically see in films in the 80s. You didn't see two women proper go at it.
Yeah, with Ingrid Pitt.
Yeah, with Ingrid Pitt, Hammer House of Horror actress, something of a legend, and Ewan Lloyd's own daughter.
Yeah.
Rosalind Lloyd. Shall we take a look at it? I remember that got a massive laugh in the cinema, that line. Can you do that again? It was a bit fast for me. Just got this massive laugh. And that fight actually goes on for quite a bit longer before that. That's just like the end bit, so we don't get shafted on copyright. But Rosalind Lloyd is still around, and I would love to interview her. She must have some amazing stories, because she also had a bit part in Wild Geese, as well as Roger Moore's girlfriend. Yeah, and she would have been around on all of her dad's films, I reckon.
Yeah. I think there's one thing that I think can't go unmentioned about this film, and that is the most amazing score by Roy Budd.
Yeah, fantastic score. And we heard it in that trailer. Yeah, really, really good.
Arse kicker of a score.
What would you give this movie out of 10, Inside Man?
This is a 10 all the way, you know.
Excellent. It's a 10. It's a
10. For an 80s movie.
I know, that time where nothing good was made, as you confirmed earlier. It's a 10 out of 10 movie from that terrible 80s period.
A terrible period,
films. Has anyone else seen it apart from us too? I'll give it a 9. Stepenzo.
It rules. 9. Yeah, 9 out of 10. It's just great. Like I said, just super realistic action sequences that might be considered understated or anticlimactic by today's bombastic John Wick standards. But yeah, it's like, this is how you'd really do this. This is how you really engage multiple enemies.
Yeah. I like grounded action, man. Yeah. I all this over the top action I find is really boring, and I just start disengaging. How many more guys do I want to see John Wick chuck down a staircase?
Shooting the head. It's just shooting you in the head nonstop.
Yeah. So
great film.
Yeah. Anyone else seen it apart from us three? Al, have you seen it before?
Yeah. I have very, very, very vague memories of my dad watching this when I was young. That's it, unfortunately. Looks like I might have to check it out though, because let's face it, the SAS. You know.
Thanks for making us feel old there.
Yeah. Thanks for that.
Appreciate that, Al.
Yeah, cheers, Al.
Yeah, same here. My dad. I caught my dad watching it once, but I didn't watch it all the way through. It's sadly I need to.
The whole film is available for free on YouTube. There's a whole thing of it there. It's not the highest quality, but it's good enough. Northern, I recommend you watch it.
I like these old school Brit flicks. I do.
Great choice of movie, Lance. Great choice.
Thank you very much. Do we have any other films or TV shows we want to recommend or talk about quickly?
Well, there is something that is funny, because I mentioned it to Al actually on Friday after the stream, the Beverly Hills Cop stream.
Oh yeah.
And there's something that I've been watching from Wednesday to Friday. It was a 3-parter. It was very, very gripping. And I thought, I've got to watch this because the implications within the film industry could be profound. So it was the Alec Baldwin trial.
Oh, that was funny. That was Gary. I literally got off talking to you and turned on the news. And it was like, oh, it's exactly what he predicted.
Yeah. Wasn't it weird? Wasn't it weird?
Was it played out live on TV? You're saying?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was.
It's not like we can go and watch this now. It's not somewhere we can watch it.
There is. Law and Crime channel on YouTube. It's all there.
So I am very familiar with the case. He's just gone on trial now. Is the trial over? Is it done already?
The trial is over. It was case dismissed because it's what's really strange is that something really from the opening smelt particularly fishy, and it was a non-disclosure of evidence, hiding of evidence, and trying to cover up the fact that mistakes were made by the forensic team and police officers in the investigation.
Oh, right.
So the forensic tech, she made numerous mistakes, but where it just kind of it sort of blew my mind a little bit was when the defense were asking her questions. Every answer to every question that she was asked was, "I don't recall. I don't recall. I don't remember that. I don't recall. I just."
Is this the police woman they were asking? The forensic?
No, this is the forensic. Her name was CST Popple, her name was.
Okay, sounds like a name for a forensic person.
And she, but every time the prosecution were asking her questions, she would answer them, without any hesitation whatsoever. And I thought, this is kind of a little bit weird. She suddenly can't remember any answers to any of these questions, and yet it's a case that she was incredibly close to. This is somebody that has to have perfect recall in court. You have to, as a police officer and a forensic expert, you have to have that perfect recall of those crime scenes that you've been investigating and the situation that has unfolded in front of you or prior to you arriving on the scene.
I reckon they'll make a movie about this one day. I mean, it'll probably be like 20 years from now, but I reckon it will happen.
Yeah. I mean, it was absolutely compelling. It really was compelling.
Because there's a good summary of it here. The prosecution case fell apart in a matter of hours on Friday. A witness testified that Carrie Morrissey, a special prosecutor leading the state case against Baldwin, was directly involved in a decision to keep potential crucial evidence separate from the Russ case. Another special prosecutor suddenly resigned in the middle of the day, and Morrissey called herself to the stand as a witness.
Yeah, it was that was really odd. It was absolutely bizarre that she called herself to the stand, and of course the defense began to cross-examine her. He didn't want to. He said he's not going to bother calling her. The judge said, you could call yourself to the stand, but I'm not going to call you to the stand because I don't want to know anything. They asked the defense. They said, no, we don't want to call you to the stand. So she kicked her own arse by calling herself to the stand and making this testimony under oath. And of course, what transpired was that her, the crime scene technician, and the head of this corporal in the sheriff's department had conspired to hide this evidence, to bury this evidence, and log it under a different crime number, and not put it within in the vault along with all of the other evidence.
And this evidence would have proved what?
It would have basically, it was evidence that was helpful for the defense for Alec Baldwin, which basically would have shown that that he didn't load the weapon. But there was all kinds of things that were amiss.
I mean, I've personally never. I know it's Baldwin's pet project, and he's a producer and all the rest of it. But at the end of the day, he's not the armorer on the set.
No, that's right. He's not.
It's not his job to check the guns. I think the armorer has gone to prison.
She went down for 8, I think.
Yeah, and she'll probably get out in about 4 years. And in fact, she'll probably have grounds to appeal now that that there's other evidence proven to have been withheld.
Yeah.
Which will undermine the whole case completely.
It sounds like the trial was as much of a shit show as the film set, to be honest.
But they've gone back and they have completed the movie now. I don't know if you guys know that.
So I hear that they've been reshooting.
They shot the rest of it in Canada. They couldn't go back to they wanted to not film it in Mexico, but they went and...
But the implications of the outcome of this case were going to be pretty profound for the business. Because we know that over the years there have been certain incidents on sets where people have died.
Yeah.
And I mean, look,
Brandon Lee being a very famous one.
I've actually been on a set and somebody get killed in front of me on a set. And that was on Four Feathers. Somebody died in front of me, which was pretty fucking horrendous. And another set, Death Wish 3, where one of the stuntmen, the fire got out of control, and it was a very famous British stuntman called Rocky Taylor.
Yeah,
and he had to jump off of the roof, off of a burning roof, and of course there was for some reason, there was no escape route for him, and the flames had kind of taken control, and he couldn't see where he was jumping off of this roof, and he had to jump into a box rig. A box rig is basically cardboard boxes. That's all that is, and it's off a 3-story building, or 4-story if you're American. So he had to jump off of the top of this building into this box rig, and of course he missed it and nearly died. And at that particular time, You know, the ADs were absolutely shitting themselves, just rushing everybody off the set. You know, no one could believe what they were seeing, but they were getting everybody else off the set. Everyone was off the set. You know, I was personally told, you know, not to mention anything. You know, if anyone asks you anything, you never saw anything, you weren't here. That was a Michael Winner set. Just for the record.
That shot in the Docklands, didn't it? And it doubled for the Bronx. I remember
that was it was Lambeth. It was just around the corner from the hospital. Yeah.
Right. Well, some part of derelict London, anyway.
Yeah, and you know, so I've been present where there's been a few accidents, and you know, and at least one death, and it's difficult to point the finger, you know, at certain people. You know, you have to look at where the responsibility does lie. But in the case of an armourer, you know, I mean, in this case of this armourer, it appears that there was something not quite right because she happened to bring live rounds that were mixed in with
live
dummy
ammo,
rounds.
wasn't she?
Yeah. Whether it was being used, I mean, there were rumours that live ammo was being used on the set, you know, and they were mucking about on set and all that kind of stuff. But that wasn't the case. It was the fact that these were rounds that were left over from the 1883. Is it 1883 or 1884?
Yeah, 1883.
Because it was the same armourer, same crew and everything.
Right.
So these rounds were left over. They were collected by the prop guy, and somehow these live rounds were mixed in with dummy rounds and were taken to the set and just packed into boxes. You know, who's really to blame? It's very, very difficult to say. Very, very difficult to say, even if it is the armourer. You know, but it certainly
it's the armourer's job to check the ammo that goes into the gun, isn't it?
It is, but if she's actually been handed this ammo, if it's been mixed in together by somebody else,
do the bullets not look different? Then I'm very ignorant when it comes to weapons and guns.
Okay, so right, okay, so you've got three different types of ammo, right? So you've got live ammo, which basically is the brass shell casing with a lead or copper headed projectile, right? In other words, the bullet, right? You've got dummy ammo, which for all intents and purposes looks absolutely identical to live ammo, but for the most part, if you shake them, you can hear a little rattle. So they might have ball bearings in, or there might be a little hole drilled in the side. So you can differentiate if you want to test every single round, but for all intents and purposes, they look exactly the same as a live round. And then you've got blank rounds. So blank rounds carry, you know, they have the primer in the bottom with the wadding and the charge inside, and they have a crimped top. So when it's fired, obviously the combustible gases inside open up the crimped top, and that's when you get the gases escape at high speed and you get your bang. So there's a clear difference between all of them. However, the live rounds and the dummy rounds, in some cases, it's very, very difficult to distinguish between the two.
Yeah, and she wasn't an experienced armourer, was she? Either?
She wasn't particularly experienced. I think. Yeah, that's right. I think. I think, and her father apparently is like considered to be like the king of the armourers. You know, so he sort of trained her up and everything, but maybe she should have been a little bit more on the ball. But then, but then the AD, when she loaded the weapon and she said, it was a cold weapon, so she handed it to the AD. The AD checked it. He checked the rounds and handed it to him and said, "This is a cold weapon."
Yeah, cold gun. Cold gun.
And of course, the other thing, which is quite disturbing, is that somebody had actually, it appears that the props guy had actually loaded a variety of rounds in the belt rig, some of which were live in his belt rig and in another actor's belt rig, which were live ammo. So, it's another disturbing thing where things could have gone even far wronger than they did, although it's very difficult to see how.
Then I would think at the very least it is going to lead to the change of some procedures.
You would hope.
Guarding the handling of ammo. It's going to have to, isn't it? It's too high profile not to, surely.
I wonder. Sorry, go on. I was going to say, I wonder how the film's going to be received when it comes out.
Yeah.
I mean, it is going to come out. I'm wondering if people are going to shun it because of this case, or if they're going to be
I think people will actually go to see it.
There's going to be a morbid curiosity behind it.
There is something that I think there is a clear difference, a marked difference between armourers in this country and armourers in the United States. Right, so remember, in the United States, when guns are being used, even though they're considered to be prop guns because they are the property of the prop master, although they are real firearms, so they have the ability to fire actual rounds. Right? We don't have that in this country. It's a very clear difference between what we have in this country and what the United States have, because obviously they have the right to bear arms. It's in the Constitution, and that's fine if they want to, if the armourers within the industry want to operate like that. However, the armourers within our industry in this country, we have a thing within the barrel that's kind of put inside the barrel, and there's all you get is the charge that comes out. So they are real weapons, they are real period weapons, they are real modern weapons that we use, but you cannot load a live round and fire it through one of the weapons that, say, for example, BAPTI might be hiring out to a production. There is a safety procedure.
I've had weapons off BAPTI many a time. My cast managed to destroy 3 of their Galils in a play. But nevertheless, still condolences to the family of the DOP who was killed. I think they have been financially taken care of, which is good. I want to, seeing as we're kind of in the Western vein, before we start to wrap up, I do want to mention this. This annoys me, man. So, okay, I enjoyed Horizon, but I can see why people didn't flood to see it. I get that. But it was half a movie, and I want to see the other half. Yeah. And I was told the other half was coming in August. That's why I purchased the ticket in July. And now you're telling me I'm not going to see the other half until when? And it's already made. It's ready to go. So, give me the other half of the film. What they're doing is trying to make the first half find more of an audience. That's not going to work.
The first version is already on dropped in HD somewhere on the internet. Really? So, that's quick.
Time for me to check it out, then, I guess. But this is the problem with cinema now, isn't it? If you don't go and see a film, you get rewarded. You get rewarded by that film coming to streaming quicker.
Right.
If it performs badly. So people don't have an incentive to go to the movies anymore.
Or some pirate sites now are within days they have the uploaded to HD. And I'm like,
it is.
But this is as much the fault of the theaters as it is the fault of the distributors. Theaters are refusing movies. You can't do that. You can't refuse a movie. You need to get asses on seats, and it's the only way you're going to survive. You can't. How can they refuse movies?
Yeah.
Can you give me an example of a film that got refused that you're talking about? Just to, I'm not.
Horizon 2 for a start. I'll guarantee you that was refused. I guarantee that there's all kinds of negotiations that have gone into, that they've gone through in order to get this movie out in August. And of course, now what seems to have happened is obviously it's been put back. Then of course we have the other things like what was that bloody film, the Batgirl thing.
I got completely scrubbed by DC.
No, we're never even going to see that movie, and
doesn't exist anymore.
I don't care. They literally wiped the tapes.
Yep. Apparently, there is a copy out there of some description in some format, but everything officially from DC has been destroyed. It's the only way they could write it off from tax.
Right.
I don't believe it. I don't believe that.
it will exist somewhere. Trust me, but
I mean, to DC, it doesn't officially exist. Is what I'm saying, because that's the only way they could write it off for tax reasons.
Yeah, I don't buy that they would actually destroy anything. I think because there are all kinds of insurances, there are all kind of completion bonds that have to be complied with. When you're making a movie, you have to sign a completion bond, once you sign a completion bond, that's it. It's not like, all right, okay, the completion bond's been signed, so I've been fulfilled, so we own the movie now, we can do whatever we like with it. It doesn't, they can't. It may be their property, but it's not their property. It's not like it's our property, so we can do whatever we like with it. They can decide not to release it. They can decide to archive it, but they can't decide to destroy it.
Maybe it was here like a day one day.
Absolutely bankrupt them if they were to openly admit to destroying a movie.
Well, I really hope that we get to see Horizon Part 2 soon. Yeah. I don't want to be waiting till like next summer to have to see Part 2 when you told me it's coming out in a month's time. That's the reason I bought. I knew I was going to see half a movie. It had kind of been sold on. This is part 1 of something. I still think it could have had more of a. There could have been more of a narrative that had some natural endpoints. I'm not saying it had to feel like the Fellowship of the Ring or anything, but
just had to trim the fat a bit. That's all.
I get the feeling it should have been a TV show, and given how
I have to agree. I mean, and even the format of it looked that way. It's in that kind of boxy. I was expecting it to have like a 70mm look, and it doesn't. I mean, it's got the visuals, but it's shot in that kind of more boxy format, which was a bit of a shame.
It would have been a high-end TV show, and I imagine it would have done quite well. But to get people to go and see 3 hours of a movie, and it's only half a movie when it hasn't got a name like June attached to it, I imagine it's quite difficult.
I wasn't going to watch part 1 until the second one came out. Now it seems like I'm going to have to wait longer to watch the first one. So.
Yeah, that's kind of where I was coming from. I was like, I watch them together kind of thing, like binge them over a couple of days or whatever.
Yeah, it's kind of annoying.
But there was no way I was going to be able to drag my missus out to go and see this. So we ended up seeing something different. But I do want to check it out eventually. It's meant to be good.
Yeah. Well, Horizon Part 2 coming not to a cinema near you soon. Who knows when? Unfortunately.
I'm shooting probably Christmas or holiday season, I bet.
Yeah, that might be right. That might be right.
But that's got to be a tell, because by then who's going to remember the first one? Unless you're banking on having it on streaming and enough people watching the first one to build interest for the second one.
Could be the strategy, yeah.
But it'd be really weird to watch something on the small screen and then go and see the next part of it in the big screen. Do you know what I mean? That's did it work for June 2 at all? I don't know. I mean, it made some money, but not massive amounts.
I'd like to see part 2 of Horizon at the cinema, please. And fucking hell, refund me my money, because you sold it to me on that basis. I want my, I want my.
I don't think I can remember anything like this happening where they've said this is definitely coming out, and then it just doesn't come out.
No, actually, you know what? I think you might be right. Certainly in terms of a part 2 of a movie that does already exist in a complete cut.
And it's been advertised as, part 2 coming on this date kind of thing. I've seen dates shift, but I've never seen it just fully be pulled. So that's, a bit weird.
Okay. We're going to start to wrap up now. So I'm going to talk about what we've got coming up. Tomorrow, we have, let me just double check the time on this. I think I'm right. 9:00. So 9:00 UK time. Inside Man and myself are going to be talking to legendary film producer, director, writer, and previous owner of an Italian castle, Charles Band himself, who made many of a joyful straight-to-video hit.
Oh man, Arena!
It's going to be really interesting. Chatting to this guy. He's a legend. I mean, he's Roger Corman Mark II, really. He took the Roger Corman model, and you know that's been his life. I'm sure he's going to mention him as an inspiration. I'm pretty excited about this one.
Do you know what, mate? I'm absolutely fizzing with excitement. I'm fucking geeking out.
Well, I try not to fizz on the actual stream tomorrow if you can. Don't want to have to take you out of the room suddenly. If you didn't catch it last night, my 60-minute interview with Milana Jackson about her incredible career to date was actually a 2.5-hour interview. We were having such a good time chatting. The time just whizzed by, and at one point I said, "Yeah, we're kind of coming up for 2.5 hours now. Maybe we should start to wrap up." Oh,
hey,
shit.
time flies when you're having fun.
It was one of the best interviews I've ever done. We have also we've got Nikki Marchot coming on. She's on next week, and I've also got, before the end of July, film director, writer, and producer Neil Marshall.
Oh, yes.
Dog soldiers.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So I'm pretty happy with the guests I've had for July, because that's been 4 absolute crackers.
Oh, my God. Yeah, that's amazing.
And it's also possible that on Sunday for Band of Brothers, we might have 1, maybe 2 of the cast coming on. I mean, people have said that they're willing. Whether they turn up, you know, it's difficult to know, but I really hope so. Also scheduled now, we've got dates for Spartacus. We'll be doing the first 2 episodes of Spartacus right after Band of Brothers the following Sunday. History Bro has agreed to come on, and Inside Man, you're on that one as well, aren't you?
Yes, mate. Yeah.
Fantastic. I think also Blue is part of the lineup for that. And then when we've done season 1 of Spartacus, we will be doing the first 3 episodes of season 1 of The Shield.
Ooh.
1, 2, and 3. So that's going to be an absolute cracker of a show as well. And I'm already writing to the cast of The Shield. I'm quite hopeful, because I've had dialogue with him before, that I can get Jay Carnes to come on, who played Detective Wagenbach. I have also spoken to the show's creator, and I have also had correspondence in the past with Michael Chiklis as well. So you never know. Fingers crossed. So quite a lot coming up for the Outcast Creative channel. All fantastic stuff. And also, of course, I'll be appearing on my buddy's channels from time to time when I'm still awake. Blue, you've just done True Lies this evening.
Yeah.
What do you got coming up, mate?
We'll do a live reaction review for Twisters coming out in 2 days. So
fantastic. That's the original Twister or the new Twister?
It's the new one.
Okay. Anything else you want to plug?
That's it, really. Just Twisters.
Northern English Beastard.
This Friday, I will be breaking down with Critical, World War Joe, and Fandad Menace, and maybe another guest, whoever wants to pop on, for the very first Men in Black movie from 1997.
Yes, the good one. The good one.
The good one. The only one.
The only one. Very good.
And the third one, I thought Josh Brolin did a really, really good Tommy Lee show.
Yeah, he was good in that. He makes the third one watchable. And
actually, I do remember him being pretty good in the third one. But
the second one was crap, but the third
one was diabolical. The third one I was all right, but it was still a pretty terrible.
Yeah, number 2 was a fucking dog turd. It really was.
Lord Toxic shouting out the Mayor of Kingstown. That is a very solid show. I do intend. I do intend to do a deep dive on that at some point. But Lord Toxic says I've got to do a deep dive on him first. So we'll have to negotiate that.
There's so many shows, Lance. These shows are an hour long. And plus, hey, Lance, tonight where you and me get to watch the finale of something.
Oh, God.
Oh, shit. No, is that that's tomorrow, isn't it? That's tomorrow.
No, it's tonight. Is it? Hang on, it's Tuesday night, isn't it? What day is it here?
It's Tuesday. We're in Tuesday.
Yeah,
no, the show premieres tonight, but you guys will talk about it tomorrow. Yeah, the last episode of Acolyte.
We're gonna do that. I don't think I've got it scheduled at the minute, because I don't know what time we're gonna finish with Charles Band, if he's happy to stay and talk to me and Inside Man.
He should stay and talk about Acolyte with you.
Yeah, not about the Acolyte.
Oh God, no.
No. We don't want him. We don't want him to talk about the Acolyte. But yeah, we will. You'll probably get a message from me, Blue, saying either, yeah, okay, let's do it, or no, I'm all talked out. I've been on with Richard Charles Band.
We've already had we've suffered 7 episodes. Let's just finish it.
There's no way they can wrap it up. There is no way they can wrap it up. It's going to lead to a season 2, which they're never going to get, hopefully.
Yeah, they've already been cancelled. Anyway,
I don't. I mean, is it normally these things would be commissioned by now? Is it? Do we know if season 2 is happening?
No, they've not officially announced.
To my knowledge, season 2 has not been renewed.
Okay, good. Because I mean, how is it that we might get season 2 of The Acolyte, yet Horizon Part 2 gets pulled from cinemas? I mean, where's the justice? I don't know. Yeah, okay. So, Critical Hour, you want to plug anything, mate?
Yeah, obviously, I'm going to be streaming with Northern English Bastard on Friday. That's going to be really good. I'm also still working on my Star Wars video. It's all recorded. I'm just finding it really hard to find archival footage of like the cues from 1977 and stuff like that.
Right.
But it's a video called Star Wars From A New Hope to No Hope, going from the good old days and right up to the Acolyte, which is, let's face it, the very epitome of no hope.
That's a pretty good title, actually.
I was quite pleased with that. So yeah, I'm still working on that. The script's all done. It's all recorded. I just need to get like the B footage to go in the video. Other than that, I recently reviewed Long Legs, which was fantastic, and Fly Me to the Moon, which is worth watching when it comes out on streaming, basically.
Lord Toxic says there's a Disney lawsuit for victims of the Acolyte. You guys are entitled to compensation. You're not wrong.
180 million.
Oh yeah.
I mean, my flatmate, who is many generations younger than me, he's in his 20s, and he's a big Star Wars fan, and he was brought up on the Clone Wars and the prequels, so he likes the prequels, right? Because he was a kid. He was a kid when the prequels came out. He hates it. He thinks it's utter crap. So
I think it is now beyond redemption. I don't think there's any way back. Or season 2 will hopefully be a nice anomaly that I can enjoy, something adult, well written. I'll be like, yep, cool, and then it just goes back to being complete shit.
It's always funny. Lance, my kid's like, "Hey, Dad, how was hanging out with Lance with the Acolyte?" I'm like, "Watch it with me." He goes, "No." He's like, "I'm not watching that with you."
Yeah.
Tell me how bad it is.
Yeah, I don't think they can redeem themselves from the last episode.
Power of Ming.
There's just so much in it that was absolutely terribly awful.
The writing is next level. I've just never seen anything like it. I really haven't.
It's like it's written by children, and
worse than children. Really worse than children.
Worse than children. Millennials.
Yeah, exactly.
Stupenzo, do you want to plug something, mate? Anything?
Yeah, tomorrow, 2 movies for the price of 1. We got Night of the Twisters and Twister coming out. So Night of the Twisters full-length commentary with myself, and then me and Blue Collar ripped on Twister. That's going to have a limited YouTube release and also be on Rumble. So there'll be links to it. There'll be links to Twister in Night of the Twisters tomorrow. So
talking of which, on Rumble, who can answer this for me? Because as you know, I tried to show my fan cut of Bridge Too Far, completely unmonetized, not for profit, got blocked after 7 minutes. I would like to show it one time, and maybe Rumble's the answer, but what's the largest file you can upload to a Rumble account?
I told you, convert it to an MP4. You won't have to worry about it.
I'm aware. I've done that now, and I've got an MP4 version of it. It's still a big file. What's the largest file you can upload to Rumble?
I know for a fact I've uploaded 4 gigs before with no problem. So
I think we might be looking at 8 or 9 here, and that's with it.
I mean, give it a try, because you have to understand there's definitely huge files you can upload on YouTube, no problem, because they're like massive HD 12-hour shows.
I uploaded the 1080p version of this, no problem.
I imagine Rumble would be similar.
2 halves of 4.5 gig each. That might work.
I swear, Drew Gordon
just look it up.
Works for Arrow Video. He keeps plugging all their shit on here. So yeah, okay. Inside Man, did you want to plug anything or mention anything?
Well, apart from tomorrow and Sunday, no.
No. Okay.
No, that's it. Thanks, mate. No.
All right, excellent. Well, it just remains me to say thank you to everyone in the chat. I think we had a pretty cool show tonight. Plus, we had a new intro sequence. Thanks to Gary Bolter of Outcast Australia for providing that for us. What I will say about the Acolyte is after that pool sequence, every time I think about that show, now it just reminds me of this.
Wiener, 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 next to another wiener.